Art of Creative Engagement class culminated in a live, interactive prototype of a creative engagement for children at the Children's Creativity Museum in San Francisco. The students of the class picked a theme, which was pollution and the environment. They created design challenges in 3 teams: earth, air, and water.
We are Team Air, and we set out today in order to get our kids engaged with the problem of air pollution, and then also something that we can use to solve it, which are wind turbines, which can also create energy and are really fun to make.
We were Team Earth. We were focusing on encouraging students to think about where water comes from and what it's used for, especially on farms. We came up with this idea because we're really interested in the food production and how farming is affected by the drought, especially in California right now.
Well, do you guys want to come scuba diving?
Our theme in the exhibit is water, and so we decided to talk about the Great Barrier Reef and the destruction that's going on. Our activity is to design a new coral home for the fish, and everybody would receive an individual fish to make their home for.
We also tried to tie home a message about the way that pollution in the form of people dumping trash into the ocean was affecting the coral reef and other habitats in the ocean. We put this trash on the ocean floor and asked them to use the trash and sort of clean up the ocean and then use it to build those habitats.
To get them into character, we gave them certain props. So this right here is a little scuba tank that we gave them, and we told them, oh, strap it on like a backpack so you can breathe underwater, and some kids got really into it. And then we would say, oh, don't forget your goggles so that you can see underwater too. And the kids really responded well to that.
To add to the experience, we built a little, we turned this balcony into a boat. And then we had a fishing rod that we were dropping fat cards that we had made down from the balcony, educating about pollution and then also about sort of random elements of the ocean and the ecosystems inside of it.
This is a great example of pollution. All the water is gone.
What is a great example?
But Johanna, how are you gonna?
I was really amazed by how much the kids just sort of decided to start building. Sometimes you give them a little bit of constraint or a little bit of direction, and that actually helps creativity much better, or they're much more able to think of things to make. So if you tell them just make anything, sometimes they just start making mounds of things. But then you give them a direction and say, hey, how do you build a bridge? How do you build, or how do you get water from here to here? And then they start inventing things with straws and the phloem.
It's also interesting how important social factors are, and that if one kid starts to suggest one thing, then everybody else kind of starts to agree and starts to do the same thing.
As an engineering student, I definitely underestimate the challenge involving building a wind turbine, and it's much trickier than that looks. The kids tell us what to do, and we're definitely not giving the feedback of yes or no. We're just here to execute it.
They all wanted to try it at the Big Fun, and when they actually tried it at the Big Fun and it spinned, it was amazing, that moment of delight and their eyes lighting up.
Awesome, works, right? Good job. High five. Nice.
I felt like ours was very much about collaboration and creation. I like what we encourage. I do think that we should be more cognizant of how we reward the kids, if you will.
I think one thing that really worked well was just asking why, or what does that do, or just acting very genuinely interested. It was amazing to see them tell stories. You could just press them for answers and they would just make it up, and it was the greatest thing ever.
For me it was very interesting that when they were figuring out that their wind turbine doesn't work, they never considered changing the layout. They were always trying to figure out what they can add on top of it to make this wind turbine work.
So they all kind of took at it from different angles, and I think that's where a lot of the creativity came from. One of the comments was that each wind turbine has a lot of different personalities. Some of them named their wind turbines. So I think the way that they personalized it was really special.
Go Team Air!
Woo!
Team Water! Woo!
Team Earth.
Team Earth!